What is up, guys? Nick McVicker here alongside Josh Palermo, and we got some fun stuff going for you. We've been talking about doing this for a while, you and me, Josh. It's something that we both really love to do, and that's talk footy. And why not do it from a fan perspective? We have all the media, we have all the players getting involved, all the past players getting involved. But when it comes down to it, man, you and me are both just fans. So we thought, why not start a fan footy podcast that can get everybody's involvement? We want to hear from you fans, so make sure you tune in. We will be live at some point. You can tune in, get your questions in. We'll try to answer them as best as we can from a fan perspective. But Josh, how you doing today, my man?
I'm thrilled to be here, excited to get started on this and give the fans a voice. You know, I've had a lot of thoughts and we get a platform for it now, so I'm excited.
A lot of thoughts is a good thing for sure, but it's been kind of a crazy, I don't know, you want to say week, 2, 3, 4 weeks in Canadian footy. We had the women's national team send-off ahead of the Olympics, which is great. Still waiting for the roster to get dropped from that. We've had multiple MLS games, multiple CPL games. CPL even went on tour. They were in Kelowna to a new location, which was awesome. But let's be honest, dude. The biggest story right now in Canadian footy has to be the Canadian national team, men's side, playing their first match in the Copa against Argentina. Argentina. Like, imagine playing the number one team in the world 5-6 years ago. We would have been laughed out of the stadium. It would have been 4-5, 6-0. First game, I didn't think they looked too bad. What about you?
I was thrilled with some aspects of the performance and quite frustrated with others. I think it 100% massive step for the Canadian men's national team to be playing a team like Argentina in a competition like this. And I'm looking forward to the point where we can kind of look away from the fact that a different perspective rather than the one that says, yeah, you know, we're happy to be here. They did some of the right things. But I think I would have wanted to see a win, 100%. And I think that was something that could have been achievable, at least a draw. So to see some of the errors in terms of some of the finishing and stuff like that, I was a bit frustrated with. I guess I left the game a bit frustrated, but still excited to be on that stage.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're at the point where just being happy to be there is no longer acceptable for this men's national team. But it still was a big step, our first Copa match. And we go in and we play the number one team in the entire world. And I know, yes, the FIFA rankings are a joke. You and me will have many conversations about this, I am sure. I've had many conversations throughout my life about how messed up the FIFA rankings are. But for me, what really impressed me was the fact that they went in and they weren't scared to get stuck in. They defended really strong. They weren't allowing Argentina their normal play on the ball. Everything was being challenged. Yes, it took 2 unbelievable passes from Messi to get goals for Argentina. Yes, there was 3 or 4 balls over the top that we had to defend, and thank you, Max Crepeau, who looked unreal. But that wasn't a we're just happy to be there sort of mentality that we saw from this team. And you heard it from Alphonso Davies post-match. He was frustrated. He did not like the fact that they couldn't score because they had chances. Eustachio, middle of the box header. That has to be put to a corner. You have to at least make the goalkeeper dive. That is like first thing they teach you when trying to finish headers in a box is that. And he couldn't do it. Jonathan David's header completely wide near the end of the match. Like, they had opportunities in the box to challenge the keeper. And I think we had 1, maybe 2 shots on target. I'll check that. But it was disappointing from a finishing perspective. But they were in that match the whole game.
100%.
And, yeah, there was some shenanigans at halftime. No doubt about it.
Yeah. That's the whole other narrative. That's pissed me off to no end. Really, It's just absolutely absurd. I'm over the whole the Messi with farewell tour. I think it feels like a bit of the narrative of this tournament, and I'm past that. And between some of the officiating, where I felt calls could have gone the other way, and then also just it took way too long to get on the pitch.
10 extra minutes. Of course,
no issues there.
10 extra minutes. You can't. Listen, I played growing up, right? Anyone who played growing up. When that ref blows the whistle, you may have a minute left, right? If there's a scheduled time you have to be out of the change room, you need to be out of the change room. You might be making your way on the pitch fine, but you need to be out of the change room. Canada stood on that pitch for 5 minutes before a single Argentinian even made it into the tunnel. And then it took another 4 or 5 minutes after that before they got on the pitch. It's a weird scenario. I will say the officiating, not the best, also not the worst. He didn't let anything truly egregious dictate how the game went. Yeah, the Schaffelberg shout. Everyone's like, oh, that's a pen. It wasn't in the box. It's never going to be a pen for me.
Exactly.
Never going to be a pen for me.
At least a free kick I would have liked to have
seen.
Yeah,
you know what? I get that, and I'm okay with that, but I was worried like all these people were saying, oh, it's a pen, that's going to change the game. Like, yeah, if it was a pen, but it wasn't a pen. It was outside of the box. Is it a foul? Yes. Was it a soft foul? Yes. Is it still a foul? Yes. That's just how it goes. You can't have one without the other, and unfortunately, the way Canada was playing, where they were getting stuck in, yeah, there was going to be fouls called. Were there some that I didn't agree with? Absolutely. But the first half, a lot of calls that were made kind of went Canada's way. So, like, catch-22 here, right?
That's true. Yeah, is it the whole narrative of the whole match to say the officiating was against us? No. But there are those certain elements, some of those shouts, for sure. I've been very excited to see the press that Jesse Marsch has played. You know, that first match against the Netherlands, it was a risky thing, I think, to how much they committed towards it, and they were trying to figure that out. And I think that it played out very, very well for them in this match. Obviously, they had the France match as well to kind of figure things out. But yeah, I think they're getting to a point where they're playing quite well with respect to that. And then I think it's just the other side of it is now combating those balls over the top and being able to get passed through.
Yeah, and I don't know how you stop that with the way that they were playing, because they were perfect. It was a couple off of set pieces for Argentina. Set pieces for Canada. So everyone's sent forward, and then a long ball gets played, and you just happen to have Messi or Di Maria or, you know, one of those guys who are really, really good going the other way. Again, give full credit to Crépeau, because he came out and challenged every single one and did a great job. I thought he did earn man of the match for Canada, and rightfully so. He may have been man of the match for the whole match. I know Messi got 2 assists, but like Crépeau influenced the match more. I just don't know who they named man of the match. I'm sure it was Messi, but you know what I mean? Like, he could have been in the running despite the 2-0 loss as the keeper for man in the match. That's how good he played.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, he was incredible. I mean, he kept Canada in this game. I think if not for those saves, I think we're looking at 4-0 at least.
Yeah.
Right? So
I got a question for you now.
Yes.
Bombito, Cornelius, are we good with them at the back?
I've never been more thrilled with the center half pairing. I mean, you know, growing up watching a lot of Italian football, we've been blessed with Chiellini and Bonucci for a number of years. Yep. And to see Cornelius and Bombito at the back for Canada, 2 guys that can hold down the fort, they're just incredible on both sides of the football. I think they defend quite well, and they've helped out in terms of moving the ball up the pitch. So yeah, I mean, I'm completely sold on them, 100%.
Yeah, I thought they looked really good. Bombito, coming out party for Bombito. I love it. He's been fantastic over the last, what do you want to say, 2 months of play. Like, he's been phenomenal for this side, really coming to his own. Cornelius, I know I did my predicted 11 when the camp was named on Footy First, and I know I didn't have Cornelius in there because I went with Kamal Miller just for the experience. But I said if one guy, either Bombito or Miller, does not look good, Cornelius is the first guy off the bench. I'm glad I was wrong, because he's proven that he should be the guy. Forget the experience. Throw the experience out the window. These two look really, really good for me right now, and I love it. I also love – I know this is a hot take, not really a hot take, but like a hot take. I really love Davies as a left back for this side.
I mean, I think that I can understand where people are coming from when they say he has to play further up the pitch, but at the end of the day, I mean, what position are you playing in and week out at FC Bayern Munich? And that's left back. And I think, I mean, he operates best from that position. And we got Liam Miller. Is it Liam Miller that's in front of him?
They had Liam Miller in front of him, before.
Yeah. I think, Liam Miller in front of him has been fantastic. I think both of them up the left side, this team has looked brilliant with that respect. So, 100%. I think we can shift away from that, saying we need to move him up the pitch. I think Liam Miller works well in front of him, and Davies works very well from a left back position.
Okay, so
like,
after one
players, I feel
game,
good about.
one game in the Copa, from the outside perspective, do you have any changes you would want to make to this 11?
I think the only thing is Tajon Buchanan needs to come off the bench, which I think might be a hot take, but he just was not convincing for me at all. I think he could have taken an extra second with the chance that he had instead of trying to shoot it as he's kind of falling backwards there. I think Jacob Schaffelberg.
That looked like half of our team doing the same thing, though. So
it's true. It's true. You can make the argument against it. I think that he's not gotten the playing time that would have been nice for him at Inter. Can you expect that he would have gotten more? I don't think so. But I feel like that might be something that is impacting his performance is the lack of consistent playing time, because I just felt like he wasn't that Tajon Buchanan that we've seen in the past. Like, I remember him at the Gold Cup, the last cycle around, not the one in 2021, that summer. Mm-hmm. And he was just a brilliant force, and he just hasn't seemed to have that same impact on the game. And I think Jacob Schaffelberg on that right side with his pace, the second he came off the bench, he felt like a difference maker. And I'd like to see him start. And I think that hopefully that gives Buchanan a bit of an incentive to hopefully get back on track a little bit. You know what I mean? I think he could be useful, and I'd love to see Schaff get a start. Aside from that, I was very impressed. Ishmael Kone, I think, had from my perspective, a poor game. It was brutal. I was not impressed with the way that he played at all. But I think he'll find himself. I think he's a young guy. He's 21. It's a big stage. He showed up against France and the Netherlands, but it felt like he wasn't finding the passes. So my only change is Schaff. I don't know. How are you feeling about the 11?
I like the 11, but I'm actually on the opposite side of you for Liam Miller. I didn't think he had a great game. I thought he was fine. I don't think he was a problem area at all, but he doesn't offer a whole lot of speed down the sides. He doesn't offer a whole lot of balls into the box, which is kind of what you want from that kind of wing position. He just wasn't giving that. He was making good passes. He wasn't a problem, don't get me wrong, but as soon as you see Schaff go on and just he's whizzing down that side, swinging balls in every chance he got. He caused 3 or 4 opportunities for the Canadian side. I would almost, and here, this is where we go big brain here, okay? I would almost move Buchanan to the left side, take Miller off, because then you have Buchanan and Davies, who both play wing back for their clubs, but also play winger. So if Davies goes on a run, Buchanan's going to tuck in because he's used to doing that, and vice versa. If Buchanan's on a run, Davies is going to tuck in, and you have 2 guys with speed down that left side. And then on the right side, where you have Alistair Johnston, maybe not the speediest dude, not slow, but not the speediest dude. Now you have Schaffelberg, who damn well is going to track back 100 yards because that's just who he is. Right? So you have Schaffelberg tracking back and then making those runs on the right side that Davies is going to be making or Buchanan's going to be making on the left. It gives them more dangerous players doing the same thing from both sides, in my opinion. I feel bad saying that because I do think Liam Miller's played well in the last 2 matches, especially against France. But I think Schaffelberg offers more and Buchanan offers more in an attacking way that could really allow this team to open other sides up. Again, if Miller's in the starting lineup, I will not be upset. I've been very impressed with him. I'm not trying to say that, but I think having Schaffelberg and Buchanan, with Buchanan on the left, actually adds more to the attack than what we have with Miller in there.
I think that's totally fair. I guess my only counterpoint to that would be, do we still have that same piece that could come off the bench and impact the game? Does Liam Miller come off of the bench and enter a match with as much spark and bags of pace like Jacob Schaffelberg? You know what I mean?
That's the question, right?
Yeah. I don't know, what do you think that then that becomes something that is a negative impact if you are starting Schaff in this setup?
Potentially, but this is a team that hasn't scored in 3 games under the new manager. This is a team that doesn't score very often, so adding a more attacking guy as opposed to a ball-moving guy might actually be beneficial for the way the side's set up in Marsh's system where they are running full pace. Again, I'm not saying Liam Miller's been playing poorly in the system. I want to make that very clear, but I just think Schaff offers a little bit more down the wings than Liam Miller ever will. If you're going to move Miller into the middle and make him like an attacking position and maybe take off Larin or David, okay, then we can have a conversation where that's a different thing and Miller could still start in this scenario that I have concocted in my head. But it's not something that I'm 100% confident in. So I would probably have him coming off the bench. And then when he comes in, you know you're getting a good player. Like, it's not like he's going to drop the play off that much. You just lose a little bit of speed. And you can always flip Buchanan back over to the right side if you're taking off Schaff, or leave Schaff on the right side if you're taking off Buchanan. Like, it's still, the options are still there. The other thing is that you have some guys with speed on the bench. I know they're more out-and-out strikers, but if you're just looking for speed down the wing, you could throw a guy up there. Like, I'm sorry, you could throw a Brim or somebody like that. I think Brim went home, but you know what I mean. Theo Bear, right? These guys definitely have the ability to go play out on the wing, and I think Bear even does for his side half the time. Right? So it's like they have speed off the bench if that's really what you want to bring in. I know Schaff has been the super sub for speed over the last, I guess, 3 games now. But I think he's more valuable just being in the side because he gives you 120-yard coverage, right?
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
He's there. You know what you're getting from Schaff because he's going to give you the whole 120 yards down that right side. You have a third of the field covered by one player.
Yeah, when you're playing the press like this, adding extra guys with pace is beyond valuable. You need that. You need those guys who are going to be able to track up and down the field. So for sure, I'd like to see it. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to see it, and we'll see if that does happen.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no guarantee that even the same lineup that we had in that Argentina match is the lineup that Marsh wants to go with. I mean, it looks like it is. He's used it for now 2 big matches, right? And I would assume it is because he has used it for the last 2 matches against the number 1 and number 2 team in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I would assume, I mean, but we don't know, right? Like, things could happen. Something could have happened in training that one of the guys is no longer in Marsh's good books. Like, I just don't know. So, until we see the lineup against Peru on, I think it's Monday night? Tuesday night?
Tomorrow night. Tuesday. Sorry, Tuesday night. Yeah, sorry.
It's Tuesday, right?
Sunday, yeah, Tuesday.
What's a Monday? There's a game Monday that I want to watch. I don't know. But until we see the lineup come out Tuesday night, who knows? We don't know. We won't know. So, like, I'm happy if he keeps the same lineup. If he makes a few changes, I wouldn't be shocked. And again, not because anyone's necessarily playing poorly, but just to get some sort of rotation in and maybe get more attacking guys going forward. And really, that's what it comes down to. If you can get a few more attacking guys in the box, maybe one of these just falls. Like, sometimes all it takes is a little bit of luck and a lot of bodies in the box. You just never know.
No, I mean 100%, and that's the thing. Do you try to shift the system? Maybe what guys do you bring in, or do you bring in a different formation? Maybe that gives us the opportunity to maybe generate some more chances offensively, or you have a lucky chance going for us like that, or do you just wait and hope that David will get off the schneid and things will start coming together?
Or Laren, the all-time leader in goals for our country. Who's I'm sorry, I didn't think he looked great in that game, but I also didn't think Jonathan David looked great in that game against Argentina.
No.
They were fine. Again, they were in the right spots, but they didn't look like they wanted to go for goal.
No.
And you can't have that from your strikers. You need someone who's going to go for goal as a striker. I truly do think they need to drop David in behind Laren, though. Like, play one up, one back, and have Laren be the target guy and David run off him. Like, I'm sorry.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
I don't get why they don't do that. And they haven't done that.
It felt like Laren was...
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry. No, I felt like Laren was dropping into the midfield a little bit more, and I think it would almost make sense for him to be more of a target man. I think that a 2-striker attack in that sense where you have one of them dropping back works for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that Laren... Yeah, we have 2 fantastic strikers that lead this team. So to be talking about goals...
We have a few more on the bench, too, that have had great seasons that just aren't going to get in because you happen to have, as I said, the all-time leading goal scorer for Canadian soccer, who's still only 29. Like, can we also point that out? He's only 29. Jonathan David's, 27? 26, 27? These guys are both in their prime.
I feel like Jonathan David might be even a bit younger than that. I think he's only 24.
Okay, he's definitely not 24, but that's what this is. These magical tools in our hands, we can always look it up.
Exactly.
Let me take a look. Jonathan David. Of course, it's not working, but let's see. I have Jonathan David at. Oh my goodness, he is 24. Wow.
There you
I thought he
go.
was younger than. I thought he was a little bit older than that.
New
Man.
quiz game unlocked.
Man,
How old is the player?
That makes me feel old. I'm older than both of them. I know. Me and Laren were the same age, but
Yeah.
I'm still older than him. That's depressing.
But you still have your shot at this team. I think.
Not
a couple,
a chance.
Not a
chance.
Around.
You did not see my game today. I had to pull myself off after 25 minutes because I was struggling to keep up. I went back in, but struggling to keep up. So
you got to find the form. It's only been a few weeks,
there.
you know.
It's game
We'll
4.
get there.
We'll get there.
Oh yeah. Lots of time.
But yeah, like I've always been impressed with how Kyle Larin plays for the national team. Usually he steps up for the red and white. The last, I would say, half a year, maybe even all the way back to the World Cup. Although I thought he looked good in the World Cup, he just didn't score.
Yeah.
He's just looked okay. Like not bad necessarily, but definitely not good.
I mean, that not Ice Teka. Not
No.
that guy.
No.
Not that guy that we've seen in the past, which is 100% unfortunate. Is it the move to Spain? Does that have any impact?
No,
I don't know.
because I thought he played really well in Spain.
That's what's interesting,
he played
right?
really well in Spain.
His club form, if you want to talk about somebody, typically showing up for the national team. His club form's been great. Like, I mean, in the Copa del Rey, I think he was phenomenal. So it is a bit strange to see a fall off in form a little bit.
Yeah. It's just disappointing because like I do think he is a leader on this side when it comes to the attacking group, and along with David, neither of them are contributing right now, and it's a problem.
No.
It's a problem. So 2 more games for Canada in the Copa. They play Peru on Tuesday, as we said, and then next Saturday they are against Chile, which will be a very entertaining match, especially if they can get a result from the Peru match, because then everything will be on the table for that last match, and I love it.
Yeah.
Makes it fun. Makes it a lot more fun.
100%. You live for that.
We will see how that goes. All right, I'll give you dealer's choice here. You want to go MLS talk or you want to go CPL talk next? Because I got some big thoughts on both of them because I was at the TFC game last week and I watch way too much soccer.
There you go. I mean, I feel like I want to go CPL to kick things off. I was at the York game on Wednesday.
Well, let's start with York then, my friend. And York in the rain. Well, partly rain and thunder and lightning. They pull out the 2-0 victory over Pacific. And can I just say one thing before we go any further? Brian Wright is on one right now. In like the best possible way for York United. My goodness, does this guy he's on fire. And he seems to be in the right position all the time.
Oh, I don't know who this guy thinks he is this season, but I guess just like the greatest goal scorer in the CPL. I just been beyond impressed. And he's leading the league in goal contributions. Like he's there. He's clinical with the finishing. He's been assisting. Like it's been a joy to watch. And yeah, like I guess can we say in the twilight of his career a little bit in CPL terms? You know,
how old do you think he is?
He's what is he? 29? 29?
Yes, he's my age too. He's
Yes,
the same age as Kyle Larin. I wouldn't really call that twilight.
I guess when you just in CPL terms, it's in a league that is like exceptionally young. You know what I mean? And he's been in the league for a few seasons. In CPL, not twilight of his overarching career, but in CPL terms.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I mean, it's a bit of a stretch even in my eyes. I don't think he's in the twilight of a CPL career because, I mean, we've seen a couple guys go into their mid-30s. I mean, Kyle Becker's still playing, right?
Yeah. That's true.
I don't even know how old Kyle Becker is anymore, but he's still playing and playing well and captaining Forge, who, again, are just good, annoyingly good. Like, Brian Wright, I think he's just finally found his, like, full footing with the squad.
Yeah.
You mentioned the goal contributions. He has 11 goal contributions on the season. 7 goals, 4 assists. He's tied for first in assists. He's lone first in goals. And the crazy thing to me is he's not even top 4 in shots. He's got 7 goals on 19 shots. That's a ridiculous shooting percentage for footy.
It's brilliant. No,
So
he gets himself in the right spaces, and it's been just an absolute joy to watch. I guess like it was kind of a match of wonderful goals. Like Moba Buli's goal. Are you kidding me? You can't like. I was just beyond exhilarated. It was just to shake off the defender like that, to stand his ground, turn around, take the shot. It was just fantastic.
yeah. So York now, I guess what are we 3 games into the
Yeah,
Benjamin Mora life in York, and they've looked pretty good with the new manager. They got 2 wins under the belt, one in Ottawa, which was non-existent wins were there before. That never was going to happen. And another draw. So they haven't lost yet with Mora at the helm. Do you think this coaching change is going to push this team on a big run? They're sitting 3rd right now, tied for 2nd with Forge, but Forge has played less games. Is this the first year that we're going to see York really push to the playoffs and be like a top team in the CPL heading into playoffs, as opposed to maybe the last couple of years, maybe like limping into the playoffs might be the better way to say it?
yeah, exactly. No, I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be the case. I've been really excited. I really like the system that Mora has brought in. I'm like using Elijah Adekubi as this false center half, kind of regista, defensive midfielder role, has really opened up a lot of opportunities. And I think, yeah, the play's been running through him, and he's been phenomenal. All the guys have kind of been showing up. I love it. I guess we got the 5-3-2, or I guess 5-3-1-1 a little bit. That system that he's running, and yeah, they look like they're playing really, really well. Yosue Martinez was incredible in the midfield in their last game. Like, we have exciting players that are part of this team. There's a sense of belief, I think, for the first time ever. Like, it's just like, yeah, like last season was absolutely brutal. I mean, the club gets sold halfway through the year, or rather, I guess the owners just give the keys back to the league. They say we don't want this anymore, and all kinds of different uncertainty. This year, you have the new owners come in, and you have a renewed sense of belief under a new coach, and there's a clear sense of direction. And we have the players, we have the belief there. They do, and I think that they'll make a solid run out of it for sure.
So you're down in the supporter section, you're down in the stands for matches. Do you hear like positive talk coming from the supporters? Is it more positive than you've ever heard? Because you've been around the club for a few years now as a fan. So it's a genuine curiosity question at this point.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. The vibes are there. I think we have. I wasn't around for the first supporters group with York 9, but the supporters group that we got, Center of the Universe and Hogtowners, I believe. And yeah, 100%. The conversations have been quite positive. The engagement's been there, and I said again, a renewed sense of excitement. Yeah, it's been very positive. They at the first match of the season, they had a banner that they had fans signing to say thank you for buying this team. So yeah, and I think that is a big factor. I mean, you just look at the relationship, I think, between the players and the supporters. It's been huge. It's celebrating those victories after the matches has been really special to watch. You really feel the community engagement from all sides of it, with inviting the fans out onto the field post-match, the autograph sessions that they're doing as well after every single game. It's bringing people. I think that's been a difficult thing, like last season for sure, just getting people invested in soccer in North York, has been a bit difficult, and they've done a good job of that. The supporters are excited, and the fans in general really feel like they're showing up and enjoying themselves. So I think that's huge.
It is huge for sure, and I know there's talk still about that might be able to move soon out of York Lions Stadium, which I think is the right decision from all sides. Make it maybe a little bit more accessible for some people, with York Lions Stadium kind of being in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we've talked about it in the past for sure. They need to get out of there.
They need to get out of there, and by the sounds of it, that is the plan. So we'll see if that continues, but this is definitely a positive season for York. Ricci's having a good year. Babuli's getting involved, right? Obviously, we already talked about him. New look back line, completely new look back line pretty much, outside of one player who's never leaving by the sounds of it, in Max Ferrari. That kid is positioned to stay for his entire life if he wants to. And the new keeper, who I'm still not 100% sold on, but he's looked good. He's looked good in times, and then sometimes not 100%, but the way the club's playing in front of him, Doesn't really matter how he plays. He could be a pylon out there in some matches. And in
It's
some
true.
matches he needs to be a little bit more than a pylon because they're getting hemmed in. But that's the beauty of this league. There's going to be games where you look real good, and there's going to be games where you look real bad.
Oh yeah.
And you need that keeper to stay up. So it'll be interesting to go from there. I want to transition quickly to the team in first place, if you don't mind, Josh. Let's take a look at Atletico Ottawa. And I know that I said that they're in first place, but they have one win in their last 5 matches. 2 draws in that time, 2 losses. And their win came against Valor at home, I believe. Let me check that. Oh, no, it wasn't Winnipeg. But after starting off so well, and they did. They looked really good to start the season. And I'm not saying they don't look good now. They've kind of tailed off a little bit. The super team looks not so super anymore. Should fans of Ottawa be a little concerned about their recent run here?
I think that is kind of the natural run of things. I mean, when you start the season off hot, can you keep that form going throughout? Is a difficult thing to be able to maintain with any team, And I think that this is kind of just what that is. It's a minor dip, and I think they're going to refine their form. They didn't look awful against Cavalry by
No.
any means, I don't think, So I just think that they'll find their form again, and it's just that point where I think, I mean, how deep into the CPL season are we at this point?
We are anywhere between 9 and 11 games, depending on which team you're a fan of.
Yeah. So,
Halifax is sitting on 9. Atletico and Forge and Vancouver have 10. Everyone else has 11.
Getting towards the halfway point,
Yeah,
I think it's just natural, And
14
they'll
games is
find
your
their
halfway
footing.
point, folks. So we still
Yeah.
got a few. We got a few games to go, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're 5 points clear of Forge right now. Forge has a game in hand. The goal differential is ridiculous. They're plus 10. They're not giving up a ton of goals. They've only given up 9 goals in 11 games.
Yeah.
Like, there's 4 teams that have given up less than a goal or less per game this season. 4 out of 8. Defense has come out to play this year, except in Winnipeg. I'm not even. I hate saying that, but man, they're minus 11 on the goal differential because they've given up 22 goals in 11 games. You're not
Brutal.
winning many games that way. Now, granted, they're not in last because they do have 2 wins because Halifax has looked awful this year. And
It's
I feel
heartbreaking.
bad,
Heartbreaking
man,
for the
'cause
fans.
that's a team that we've gotten so used to being resilient. Maybe not great. They're not top of the table all the time, but they're never an easy win.
No.
They're an easy win this year. They do not look good. They look almost confused as to what style they should be playing, which is very odd because you look at the coach who had a great year last year. He came in as a rookie, brought them all the way to the semifinals, I believe, of the playoffs, if I'm remembering correctly off the top of my head. And now they just kind of fell apart. I know they lost a couple guys, but it's not like they lost that
Key pieces.
I didn't think they were key pieces. Turns out they might have been. But man, like they look bad, Josh. Something doesn't look right there.
They don't look like a team, and I think it's that's the most unfortunate part. And yeah, I really feel for the fans. So I think the fans at Wanderers grounds are some of the best in the league. So
And have been since year 1.
that's just it. Yeah, it's just consistently just been bringing it. So yeah, when the football club's not performing in front of them, that breaks my heart. It's quite frustrating. I think that's just it. You're looking at a team that just needs to figure it out. And there needs to be that cohesion. And it's just not there. So you hope, you wonder what it is going to be that's going to be able to bring that for them. Clem, Bahia going over there on loan, an interesting piece, I think, but 100%, I think it just comes down to being able to implement a system that everybody wants to be able to buy into and can buy into and play well as a unit.
Yeah, you need the big boys to step up. You really do.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to. Caligari has looked okay this year. He's a guy that you need to go. Thiago Coimbra, they need him to get going. I know he was coming off suspension in their last match and looked okay. Massimo Ferrin, you got to get him going. Like they need the big boys to step up offensively, and they need the big boys in the defensive side to really lock things down. Like Nimick and Gagnon Laparé, Telfer needs to get some goals going. Like they need more consistency throughout the lineup, and they're just not getting it right now, which is it's tough. And like I think Jan Fillion has looked good this year in net, and yet they've given up 15 goals in 9 games. But here's the difference: in 9 games, they've given up 15 goals. They've only scored 8. They're scoring less than a goal a game right now. As the cat joins the show.
Little cameo from Sabrina the cat.
The other crazy thing, I said they've played 9 games. They're on 4 points because they've picked up 4 draws. So it's not like they're getting blown out consistently, right?
Yeah.
But this is not the Halifax that we're used to. And
they have pieces. They have the pieces.
Yeah. And I think more than anything, for the league's sake, you need Halifax firing and being a top team. You can't just have them there. They can't be the bottom team, because you need to have a top team, and you need to have all 8 teams going. Because when you go into a match, if no one knows who's going to win, it makes the league better, more competitive. You get top competition from every single match. And right now, when you play Halifax, you're guaranteed a point, maybe 3, which is awful.
Oh, you need the teams coast to coast to be cooking, 100%. It's not great for the league that I think Forge has been perennial, champions. So
really,
yeah, you need. I don't think so. I judge.
Hold on, is this your York fan bias coming into play?
Partially, but I don't know. I always judge a competition based on the fact of do they have different winners season by season. I think that does a very good job of showing the quality of the teams within the competition. So and not to say that Forge is the only good team, because you've had Cavs and you've had Atlético Ottawa. They're like who have shown up. But I think it does well when you have different champions varying season by season. It does a better job of showing.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. We're going to have some fun with this conversation. Because you just opened up a whole box of ideas that I would love to challenge you on. So let's start with the first one. You say that you think a league's parity, basically, makes the league look better. But what if the number 1 team is challenged all the way through and given tough games and still pull out a win? Like, we're talking, let's use a different sport, like the Patriots. Let's go with the Patriots when they had that dynasty run, right?
Yeah.
Every single year, you knew the Patriots were going to be good, but when it got to the playoffs, all bets were off. Like, any single week, they were pushed consistently, right?
Yeah.
Every single year in the CPL, yes, I get that Forge has been to every single final. It's astounding. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? Bobby has done a great job out there. That whole system is perfect. Like, I can't say anything better than that. Right now, it is perfect for this league. But they've been pushed. They haven't got easy wins to get to the final.
That's fair.
And they've looked good from game 1 all the way through to the final. They've looked good in CONCACAF Champions League. They've looked good in the Voyageurs Cup or Canadian Championship or whatever it's called
you want
now.
to call it tomorrow.
Right? They are consistently playing at a top level in a league where they are getting pushed every single year in the playoffs. So for me, it almost looks, I think it says more about Forge being that well set up than the league being poor, that they've won so many championships, because the league has shown that they push Forge every single season. That's the way I look at it. Does that make sense? Do you want to argue me on that one, or?
No, I think 100%. If you're somebody that's paying attention to the league consistently, we're seeing that, with the teams that I mentioned, with Cavs, Athletic, and Pacific, and it is great for the CPL for them to be playing well in the CONCACAF. That's the Champions League. It's the only time that I've cheered for Forge this season. I was thrilled to see them play well. So from that aspect, when they're doing well in competitions that are out, us outside of the CPL, for sure. I think if you're somebody who doesn't know a lot about the Canadian Premier League and is just looking at it from a surface level, you're not going to see that. Yeah, they've been pushed. You're just going to see, they've won 4 out of 5. They won 4 out of 5, and they've dominated the competition. Like, when I think of the Bundesliga, not a league that I watch a lot, unfortunately. Just the case.
Which is weird because
when
it's
you
one of the
see,
only ones on TV right now in
yeah,
Canada.
yeah, true, very true. I get very much stuck into my Serie A in the fall and winter.
Yeah, fair, fair.
But I mean, when you see FC Bayern Munich consistently winning there, you're just kind of like, oh, they that must not be a very competitive league. I think when I was a kid too, the seasons that Juventus was consistently winning in Serie A, I was like, Serie A doesn't even matter at this point. I just want to see them win Champions League. So for me, I was like, yeah, the rest of these teams are kind of bum. That was my perspective.
Right.
So I guess that's where that sentiment somewhat holds true, I guess, in my head in adulthood a little bit there.
I guess the difference is, but Bayern and Juve, when they were on those runs, were winning the league by like 20 points.
That's true. That's true.
Forge actually is. I think they've only won like 2 regular seasons out of 5. They're just really good in the playoffs.
Yeah. That.
So
I guess that you have two sides of the coin there, for
Right?
sure, for sure. That's fair.
But yeah, I guess you do need to pay a little bit more attention in order to see that they're not just running away with the league; they're getting challenged at every step. So, but yeah, they've looked good, even without their stalwart goalkeeper Tristan Henry, who's no longer with
Yeah.
the side. They have the 2 young guys have stepped up, and they look good again. They're second again. I say that so disappointed, but it's just like I want to see parity in the league at the same time. So that's why I was playing devil's advocate.
You have to.
But it's also not wrong. Like they are getting pushed. But man,
Yeah.
I'd love to see someone else win.
That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. I mean, I have a lot of admiration for the Forge fans. Don't get me wrong. I've had a lot of wonderful, interesting interactions with them. You know what I mean? As a fan of
They
yours.
were wonderful, wonderfully angry, but wonderful.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's just it. They've been
Hey,
enjoying
their
it.
supporters group is unbelievable. Barton Street Battalion, huge shout out to you guys. You guys are a lot of fun to go to games because you make it an event, right? And I think that's the big thing. And now I can't speak to all across the country because I haven't been to every single stadium yet. I know the Halifax fans do the same thing. They are 100% making every single match an event. Barton Street Battalion, you guys do it right. Continue doing that. Support that side because they're damn good. So you might as well.
Oh yeah. I love the chirps. Oh my god, they're just the most incredible, and that's why I say wonderful. They're just great chirps.
And healthy.
Fantastic.
They're healthy.
Yeah.
Nothing's too far, right? Like
Exactly.
You get to the point where some fans take it too far. I haven't had that experience with Barton Street Battalion. Again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm not usually down in the supporter section. I'm usually up in the media box, but I'm watching these games. I'm a fan of the league. I've been a fan of the league since it started. This league was something that I've wanted since I was 10.
Yes.
And I'm 29 now, and it started 6 years ago. So it took almost 15 years to get it, but the dream was there. So
Exactly.
um,
No, it's supporters groups like that carry this league. 100%.
100%. Do we want to flip to the MLS now, or is there anything else you want to talk about in the CPL?
No, I'd be super down to touch on the MLS and a very struggling Toronto FC side.
I was going to say, you want to start with TFC, or do you want to start with the other
Yes.
struggling sides in Vancouver and Montreal?
That's fair.
Nobody's playing well right now.
Nobody's playing well right now.
So I'll give you first pick of team. Where would you like to start, my friend?
I guess the bias comes back in a little bit again. TFC.
You're going TFC. All right, let's go TFC. I was at the match on Wednesday. First half, they were fine. I actually thought they were the more dangerous side. They looked good. Oh, don't know what was said in the halftime. Don't know what happened in the tunnel. But my goodness, they came out flat.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
not like a flat 4. They just came out flat. Very, very poor second half. Ended up losing 2-1 to Nashville, who was missing, Jacob Schaffelberg. Probably the most dangerous guy on their team. They took off Walker Zimmerman in like the 65th minute, which I thought was really weird because he's their best defender in my opinion. It was a weird game, and TFC comes out on the wrong end of a 2-1 defeat where they just didn't. They looked disinterested in the second half.
I feel like that's been the theme of the last 2 matches. Just flat-footed, and uninspired, and it's just like so many stupid errors. I think like that was my takeaway from the game last night. It was just like, what are we doing here? We're like, it was the second or third goal. I think it was Kevin Long, just a brutal pass that turns into an opportunity. And Bernadeschi, for me, not backtracking with any intent. And I'm just kind of like,
I mean, you don't really expect him to backtrack. Like that's the one thing you
it's
just don't expect him to.
it's true. I think what we saw early on in the season was a Bernadeschi playing wingback who was doing that a little bit more. I think
Yeah, but he was literally playing wingback. Now that he's playing wing, he's not really playing that wingback role.
true.
I know, like they might list him as that, but they don't need him back there because they have four. He was the fourth at that point. Now he's the fifth. It doesn't make sense to me for him to have to.
Yeah.
Anyway, not the point. We'll get into that later. Continue.
Has there been a shift in system?
A slight shift in system, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that was just I don't know what's gone wrong. And the discipline was a huge part of it. That aside like just these red cards coming. I guess it kind of goes back to Bernadeschi a little bit, but suspensions because of just lack of discipline. And I
Card
understand the passion,
accumulation
but
is the worst suspension. I think it's ridiculous.
it's tough.
No, I mean
100%,
like
100%.
as a player,
Yeah.
like you can't. You
Yeah, I
need
see
to
what you're saying,
understand that you cannot be getting 5 cards in a season. I don't care if you're a defender. I do not understand. I played my whole life at the top level. I've never once gotten a card. I played center back. I went 2 years without getting a foul called against me. Just understand how to tackle. Learn how to tackle. It's not that hard.
And don't be an idiot. What pisses me off to no end is when you want your ego and your attitude to get involved. It's just don't let there be a disagreement after play be the thing that is going to penalize you. Like that was Austin Ricci. Have mercy. That was something that really frustrated me.
I'm
in the
sorry. You
York game,
cannot
so.
be getting a dissent foul. A dissent
No.
card. Dissent cards are ridiculous. My team literally has a fine. If you get a card for dissent, you have to pay into a fine at the end of the season. Well, I mean, I think we're kind of paying them out throughout, but at the end of the season, you will be paying into a fine, and that will go towards a. I don't want to say what it's for, because it's going to be for liquid beverages for a party. But you know what I mean.
Exactly.
So
Kool-Aid for everybody.
you just can't. You can't be getting dissent cards, and you can't accumulate cards because of dissent. And that's really the biggest thing. Yes, I know cards are going to happen. I get it. I can't say that you shouldn't get a card. Cards are there for a reason. You're going to get cards. Don't let them be for dissent.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable. I'm sorry. It is
100%.
unacceptable.
It is. It is.
And they don't look interested anymore. Some games TFC looks very interested. Some games Bernadeschi and Insigne are flying. I will say that the first half of that Nashville game, they looked interested. They were ready to go. They were moving the ball. Both Insigne and Bernadeschi were getting involved. And then they came out of the tunnel in the second half, and it looked like they turned off. And the match yesterday against New York, 3-0. Like, why even show up?
No, but I mean, Berna had a clear opportunity in the first half. It was just a very poor shot. It was not placed at all. So I don't know what's gone wrong in there. I think I had all kinds of excitement heading into the season. Looking at the first couple of results and saying, wow, Herdman's got them all on the same page. He's got them to buy into this project, and everybody looks inspired. And I have not seen that at all. Just complete inconsistency and lack of passion throughout a match. It's been quite
They've
frustrating.
gone from potentially hosting the first round playoff game to into the play-in game.
How did this? I think early on in the season, I was excited about the potential. It was going to be a struggle, but I was like, could Supporters Shield be even in the conversation a little bit? It was always going to be a stretch. It was always going to be a stretch, 100%. But there was that little part of me that hoped. You know what I mean? And we weren't too far on the outside. So yeah, to see a complete dip is just like, yeah, it's frustrating and upsetting. And you hope that they could turn it around. And I think I don't know. Our defense has been poor. I mean, Gomis and Long, not like there's been Gomis against New York. I was not impressed at all.
No, but he's had some matches this year where he's been great.
Yeah, I mean
That's the problem, right? Is that they just have no consistency.
yeah,
So.
and that's what it comes down to.
From one team who's fallen out of the conference race to the play-in tournament or play-in game. It's not really a tournament like in basketball.
Yeah.
To another team that has fallen from the conference race to the play-in game. Let's go to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Vancouver. Yikes.
What happened?
I don't know. I was really excited about this squad. I said it on Footy First that I thought they could potentially go for the domestic triple. Like they could push for the Supporter Shield, they could push for the MLS Cup, and they could push for the Canadian Championship. Yeah, they may have one opportunity to win one now because they ain't getting the Supporter Shield. And the way they're playing, they ain't winning the MLS Cup. Not a chance.
No.
And I wouldn't be
Flat-footed
shocked.
defending, yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if they lose in the semifinals of the Canadian Championship.
Yeah.
And this is what, 6 weeks ago I said I think they could push. No. They have won 2 games since I said that. 2.
What has gone wrong?
I don't know. I have no idea. Because Vanni Sartini's been a fantastic manager. He looks great.
I love him so much.
Right? He's putting out good lineups. The guys just aren't showing up. But since I said that I think they could go deep in a run for the MLS Cup, they've lost 3-0 to LAFC, lost 1-0 to Colorado. They tied Seattle. They lost to Cavs in the Canadian Championship. They lost to Miami 2-1. That's not a bad loss because Miami's really good. They lost to Kansas City 2-1, who at the time was not very good. They beat Colorado 2-1. Again, Colorado not a great team, but you got to win. They lost to New England 3-2, and they've lost to Portland this past week 2-0.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Portland. Yeah.
And Portland, that was a game where you needed to win because, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure Portland is just ahead of you in the standings, or actually, they were behind you in the standings going into the match. And now they're ahead of you, which pushes you down to 9th. You are just in the play-in game now because it's 8 versus 9 to make the play-in game.
No.
That's an unacceptable drop.
No,
like you
the
have
red card.
The red card
In the last game, sorry. That was just like, what? Why? What? Behave yourself.
It can't happen. It can't happen. And I don't know. Nico's saying that it's my jinx. It might be. I don't really care at this point. It needs to be better. It has to be better. And if it doesn't get better, they're in real trouble because this is going to be a very, very long season if they can't turn it around soon.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I guess particularly like the last game, I was quite disappointed. Well, Portland's was missing some players on international duty.
Yeah, but how many are they missing? They're missing Ali Ahmed.
No, sorry. I mean like Portland. Portland's
missing players.
Max Kripo.
Yeah.
Right. They're missing Kamal Miller as well.
Yeah. I think they're missing one more. I just can't remember who it is. I think they're missing one more.
Yeah. Vancouver's missing Ali Ahmed. I mean, your pieces are there.
Ali Ahmed's a good player. I'm not saying that he's not a big loss, but you have to take advantage of a team that's missing guys.
Yes. And that's what frustrated me. And it just felt like Portland played right through them. They were just able to play right through them. And Vancouver didn't have anything else going their way moving forward.
No. They look bad. That's what it is. They look bad.
So,
and Montreal's looked bad all season, so I don't even know if we need to talk about them, but they've
I don't know if we can touch on it.
Right? They've got 4 wins out of 19 games.
Brutal. I think an exciting side to watch 2 years ago in the MLS. I mean, they had a lot of wonderful players,
But they still have some really good pieces. Like, this is what I don't get. Like, Jonathan Sirwall's a good keeper.
Oh, yeah.
Joel Waterman's a good defender.
Two guys from the CPL. Like, you love to see it.
Choinière is a good midfielder.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, they have good players. The 2 strikers are good, too. They're just...
That's true.
They look inconsistent. Every single time they go out there, you're either going to get one guy playing really well or 2 guys playing really well, but I haven't seen a game yet this year where everyone was clicking. Everyone was firing. And that's a problem. Like, you can't expect to do well if you don't have that consistency. And they just don't. I mean, they picked up a draw against Red Bulls at Stade Saputo on Wednesday, which is a big draw. Red Bulls being third in the East is also impressive, right? Like, it's a good point. But then you go into Colorado and just get your doors blown off 4-1. Like, that can't happen.
No.
Like, you can't have a good result and then follow it up with a crappy result.
No, they need to string. It's that age-old story in sports. String some wins together, and the
Gotta
momentum will
string
start
some
rolling.
wins together, man.
You have to show up.
And I know the fans are not having a great season with some of like the ownership choices and other stuff. Managerial stuff is not their favorite. I feel for the fans, man, because this team should be doing better.
One of the burning questions that I've had is the fact that there's been a lot invested in Bologna in Serie A from Saputo's. Like, does that impact what's happening over here in Montreal?
Maybe.
Like,
I mean, there's a cap here, so they can't really spend too much more than
that's true.
Cap.
Not.
North America, we have to have a cap, even though it's not really a cap in the MLS. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Teams spend whatever they want if they have the right players coming in.
I've always felt the financial structure of this league makes so much sense. Oh yes, of course.
Miami.
Yeah.
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
I don't know.
But like, it's just disappointing because they had such a good run 2 years ago. They looked good last year, and now they're second last in the East. They have 19 points through 19 games. And listen, San Jose is an awful team in the West. They have 11 points so far this season. But you're 1 point out of last in the East. If Chicago can get a draw, you're tied with them. It's not good enough. It is not good enough.
They need to figure it out. They need to
figure it out. All right, dude. I don't got anything more for you. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this bad boy up?
No.
All right. Short and sweet.
Exactly. Looking forward to Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, there's some big matches this week. Make sure you check them out. Canada plays twice. We got CPL and MLS action as well this week. So you got everything you could possibly want from Canadian footy. We'll be back next week to talk all of it right here on From the Supporter Section. I'm Nick McVicker. That's Josh Palermo. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Cheers.